taste of Egypt. We all know the similarities that we see here in this United States of America, the similarities to Egypt. And we've heard that, this country referred to as Little Egypt, right? Well, in that video last night, I mentioned the great eclipse, okay, that happened in 2017, August 21st, 2017. I made a boo-boo last night in that video. I said that it did happen in September 23rd, but actually that was the Revelation 12 sign that I had mentioned also. But the eclipse happened on August 21st, okay? And I had heard back then in 2017 that the next eclipse would come 7 years exactly to the day. But they must have been wrong, or unless they're going by another calendar or whatever, because it actually is, according to the Gregorian, to a 365-day year calendar, it will be 6 years, 7 months, and 19 days apart. And I divided that by 7, and that was 355 days. So if any of you have any knowledge on the Most High's timing and how many days his years consist of, let me know in the comments. Maybe it is 355, and maybe that those eclipses do happen according to Yashua's time, 7 years to the day exactly. So remember this photo right here. I'm going to take you and show you these patches that I want to show you. Shalom, shalom, Yashua. I'm back. I know it's been a minute since I've been on here. I have somewhat of a good explanation for that. And let me tell you, it's not because I wanted to be away. No. About a week ago, I was trying to put together some content in continuation of the revelation about the Delta that I received, and about how it was used in Nazi Germany in the concentration camps to identify the various prisoners, okay? And we're going to put that on the side burner, not because I'm saying we ought to, or because I want to, but because the Most High said so. And I take orders from Him and Him alone. The night I was looking into that further and was about to hit the record button, probably like 9 days ago, the Most High, and I say this, I hope that at least my the subs that's been with me for a while know how serious I am when I speak. Like, I don't just say things lightly. If I put something on here and I say that the Ruach led me, that the Most High showed me, I don't just say that about anything, any truth or revelation I come to. I say that because there's only
that for an explanation. It cannot be explained away or credited to anything else. And if I had enough time, I could show y'all that. I'll try to show you why I say that. Those with eyes to see, ears to hear, those who have their ears on will know what I'm talking about. Will know the truth of that. We'll see it. That night, he took me and showed me a truth, a revelation that's so huge and wonderful. Let me tell you, it's just absolutely wonderful. And ever since that night, I've been wrapped up in this, and I haven't been able to even come to the record button yet. Last night I was attempting to do it, but I kept getting interrupted. The enemy obviously, clearly does not want me to speak about this. If this even gets out to a few of you, praise Abba. I know that all of us as children of the Most High will know this. I'm thinking sooner rather than later. But I'm gonna try to do what he's asked me to do, and that's convey it to you. And through his hand, all things are not only doable, but they're gonna happen. Best believe it. You can say bet to all that. So that night, I was reminded of a statement I made kind of off the cuff on a few videos before that night that I had made, saying that I felt like the Moab the Most High had spoke about in future, when he was talking in the future, speaking of a later date, the Moab of prophecy. I said I felt like that was the Moab of America. Okay. I began to remember that statement, think about that, and he took me and showed me something. That something is what I'm going to try to show you. That something is the thing that's so huge and more beautiful than anything you can ever imagine, and wonderful and awesome and amazing. And it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night when he started to show me. He made me put the record button down and forget about the Delta thing for a little while. I sat in quiet and silence and studied till about 3 in the morning. And it was only me and my son was there. And he was passed out. He must have went to bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock. When I went to sleep, when I woke up the next morning, which was about 8 a.m., I overslept. I woke up and he was already awake. And his eyes were the size of saucers, just glowing. When I tell you a grin from ear to ear, I'm exaggerating because that's physically impossible, but as close as you could get to ear. That was his face when I looked at him. And he could not wait to tell me the dream he had had that night. He said, "Dad, I had the most amazing dream about me and you last night." And the next words he said, I'm not going to say them right now, let me set the groundwork a little bit. He said some words that backed up what I was showed, how that could happen. Like I just said, can only be credited to the Most High and his awesomeness. Stay with me, folks. You're going to want to hear this. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you're going to be rejoicing and dancing when you see the revelation he has given to me and asked me to give it to you. Shalom, shalom, Yashua. I just wanted to play that. I played it while I went into the station real quick. I had to get some snacks, you know. Can't do nothing without snacks. But I went back after that brother commented on my post and let me know that he knows about the inherited land, the land of inheritance, and the Native Americans, and the truth about all that. I went back and wanted to listen to some of the videos where I've talked about it, like the first ones. This video you're listening to was the first one where I mentioned it. I think it was the day, that morning, when I woke up and Blake told me he had a dream that Israel was here in America. And if you never heard, the Most High showed me that the night before, or at 3 in the morning. That's why I was up studying. And I, like, Blake is like just another version of me. Like, he's the only person on this planet or plane that gets me, you know, because he does and thinks the same way I do. He was the first person that came to my mind, probably the only one at that time, that I was going to tell. I looked over at him. We were in a hotel room. I looked at him when I realized what I was seeing. And he was sleeping, and I was thinking, man, I'll tell him when he wakes up. Well, when I woke up, he told me that he had a dream that that's where it was. And I said, get out of here. I said, no. I said, son, that's what I was going to tell you this morning. He showed me in his word that it's here. Well, he showed in that dream that Blake had. And Blake has had some pretty prophetic dreams that has he's been shown future events that have came true, no doubt about it. Abba gives him dreams for me. Like, he gives him dreams that gives me a heads up. Abba warns me in Blake's dreams, if that makes sense to you. But yeah, and he really didn't even think much about it, you know. But he did. I do remember him saying that the Most High showed me and him in his dream where the Messiah was hung on this big tree, he said, and that blood we could see where the blood ran down and into the ground. I can't remember what he said about that, but he was like, he must have thought that was kind of important or something. And he said there was a face on the side of a mountain, and in the land there was a face. That's what he said. And then about a week after that, I found that face. I'm going to talk about this, and how could I not talk about it? Everyone should be talking about this. All of you, any one of you who says you're Yashua, who says the name Yahusha, or Yahuwah, or Yahweh, any one of y'all who talk about being in the kingdom, I don't care. Even the Christians should be talking about this. And if you can't talk about it, if you can't look at it, okay, it only tells us one thing, and that is the fact that you're full of shit. That's what that tells us. Because why can't you look at it? Are you scared? Is it going to bite you? Are you going to melt if you look into this? Are you going to continue to tell people that you love your neighbor when you can't even look at this? You think I'm so full of shit that I don't deserve 10 seconds of your time? Well, if you do happen to watch this and you're pissed because I tagged you on Facebook when I share this, you can get pissed all you want. I never tag anyone specifically to pick. I don't pick on people. I'm sharing this because I feel like it's my duty to share treasures with as many people as I can. And it's not my business to sort out who will believe it and who won't. You would do the same thing I'm doing. If you truly believed, you truly feared the Most High. I'm going to let you listen to a little bit more of this, and then I'm going to go show you some proof, tell you some more about the goodness of Abba to plant me right in the land of our inheritance. See this picture right here? Verse 8 from chapter 11 in Hazan. And their dead bodies lie in the street of that great city, of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, Mitzrayim, where also our master was impaled. In the KJV it says where also our master, our Lord, was crucified. We know the truth about the details. But about 2 years ago, I looked hard at that verse right there because I was thinking the whole time that the great city, Egypt and Sodom, it was referring to end time America. And then I seen how that said where it was the same city where he was impaled. So I was like, no, so that must mean it's Jerusalem, Yerushalayim. And I even argued that point for a long time. Just here recently, I was arguing that point. And to people that were saying that Egypt, spiritual Egypt and Sodom were America, and I was saying, no, because see, look, it's the same city where he was impaled. He was impaled in Jerusalem, right? Yeah, so it's Jerusalem. Well, the way I'm going to try to lay this out for y'all is I'm going to have to tell you something about myself. I kind of mentioned it before. And that way you'll know how serious I take this stuff and how I would never throw this stuff around. I know more than anyone that I know that the Most High has his eyes all on me. And in no way am I going to play around with his word, with what he gives me, with anything to do with him. I'm the last person who wants to get my ass beat by my Abba. I know what he can do, and I have fear for him above anything that exists. I'm that son that flinches if he looks at me, if I'm doing something stupid. Therefore, I don't. I told y'all that on September 23rd, 2017, the night that they were to see the Revelation 12 sign, I was given my first revelation about the woman being clothed in the sun, that was Christianity. And that night, I got a phone call from a Chinese lady who just recently had escaped China. and persecution. She was a Christian, okay? And her friend eventually had went on to tell me about all the horrors they had went through to get out of there. I'm talking like tunnel stuff, running through tunnels and hiding and trembling, Gestapo kind of stuff. She called me. She messaged me and asked if she could call me, if it was okay if she called me on Messenger. And I said, yes, she did. This was about 2 a.m. She was in New York. She messaged me, or called me and said, "You're Dottie Ben Yashua, right?" And I said, yes. And she said that this guy that she looked up to was wanting to talk to me, asking for me by name. He wanted to talk to me. She described this guy as this author who was using a pen name at the time and had used various pen names before because he had been hunted down by the drug lords and whatever over there in like Saddam. I want to apologize to y'all, anyone who's listened to me for a while or a long time. I want to apologize for the way I've been speaking. I've been so uptight with how I say things and what I say, and it's all because of those scoffers out there and mockers who mock me and scoff me. And what am I doing? I'm giving esteem to the Most High. And if they got a problem with what I'm saying, they give no proof to why I should stop, which shows me they don't love me. And if I'm not loved by them, there's probably a lot more. They probably have a lot bigger issue with love than how they just how they feel about me. I'm sorry that I've let those people who only seek to discourage and tear down. They're seeking blood and violence, plotting. I should have never let them deter me from being a brother and a friend to y'all and bringing you all the truth, the treasures that I've been given, bringing every bit of it to you. If you haven't been here very long, I was saying in that video I just played, I used to, there for a while, a few years back, I debated with people online that America wasn't the what it talks about in the Bible when it says spiritual Sodom and Egypt. I debated with people because I read that scripture where it says this great city, which is known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt, where also our Messiah was impaled. I argued with people and said, see, no, that can't be America. That has to be Jerusalem, because he was impaled. He was killed in Jerusalem, right? So this isn't something that, most people won't look at this stuff because it would go against what they've claimed to be true. I don't care what I've claimed. And until anyone who has an issue with what people think about them, they don't want to be wrong. Until you get that out of your head, you're headed for destruction. We have to understand we're wrong a lot. And we have to have no problem when we're wrong, when we're showed that we were wrong. It's just like I said the other day, anyone who goes to the classroom with the intention of letting everyone else know that you already know all about this, then why are you at the classroom? You need to be part of the faculty, facilitating, right? But it's odd. You can't be because you're a student. This is a test. Everyone here is a student. If you want to be called teacher, you're prideful, you lack humility, and you're going to die. If you think I loved saying that just now, you're going to die. Please hear the compassion in my voice, the care and the love. It's the main reason for doing what I do. But I didn't believe that. I made the United States of Egypt video talking about how the lines of the solar eclipse, the Great American Solar Eclipse, will cross there in southern Illinois. I didn't think about that being real Egypt. I just thought it was just a coincidence that those towns down there were named like that, and that the X was going to be there, and they call it Little Egypt, and the town where it's going to, the bullseye is known as the Star of Egypt, and all these things. I never thought anything about it. But I got to tell you how the Most High led me to the truth about the land of inheritance being in America, because it's so amazing, and it was done in only a way that He could do it. Ain't no other mind in existence, any before, now, or in the future, could do what He does. So if you want to start, all of it started with this Cobra Vampire 19er, the COVID, right? When we were seeing it on the news of it being over there in Wuhan, and they started to talk about shutting flights down and stuff to contain it, not to let it get over here, I was just like everybody else. I was scared. I was like, man, if it gets here, we're dead. You know, is this going to be like some kind of zombie apocalypse or something, you know? And then I seen somebody's video. Yes, you can, everybody that's been waiting for me to say I heard something on YouTube, there you go, I give you a nugget. I heard somebody say how on the audio book of, I think it's called Dark Eyes or something like that, and I think it's a Stephen King book. I could be wrong about both of those things, but I know from when I watched that video that he said, whoever was talking said that on the 9th hour and 11th minute mark of that book, it mentions this lab created, like military created biological weapon called the Wuhan 400, and that it would do something. When it mentioned the Wuhan 400, which it did say was a coronavirus, it only mentioned it for a few seconds, like a moment, and I thought that was odd. And you know, I've always been someone who can think and talk about the mysterious. I said I saw, whatever you want to call it, a round flying thing that made no noise and hovered over my head. What it was, I don't know. I could definitely see an American pilot flying that thing, you know. And I know beyond the shadow of a doubt there's no aliens coming from distant planets. I'm not that naive. Okay? And I fear the Most High, and I listen to His word only, and He tells us what that stuff is, right? So this is how amazing Abba is. He led me, when he started to show me the stuff, the truth about Cobra, the Cobra vampire, the COVID-19, right? He showed me in his word especially that it was actually the dragon being wroth with the woman and the remnant of her seed, okay? They were straight lying through their teeth when they said that Cobra Vampire 19 exists. It's a fraud. And I got no problem saying it on here. I stopped caring about what this world will do to me a long time ago when I realized that Abba was the only one to fear. The Messiah said, fear the one who can kill both body and soul for a reason. If you're afraid what they're going to do to you, so you don't share truth, you don't warn people, when you have something you've been showed that could give them a really important heads up, but you don't do it because you're afraid of what will happen to you, man, you got problems. That it should definitely take priority over you bitching at me because you think I'm wrong. So anyways, he took me and through that journey, and it's all documented in my videos on All Esteem, he took me to this town called Grand Junction, Colorado. And he showed me how that was the first town where the first case of the Delta variant showed up here in America. And that town is Mark of the Beast 666 Central, Ground Zero. It's like the headquarters for all things 666 Mark of the Beast. Don't believe me? Go look it up. I'm not lying. There's 6-star clothing. There's a trail, a mountain climb that's called Mark of the Beast Cliff or something, or 666 Cliff. There's grocery stores called 6-star whatever. And I've told you before that 88 is the same thing. That the number 88 is the same thing as the 6-pointed star. And that 6-pointed star is 2 deltas combined, 2 doors combined, male and female, light and darkness, good and evil. So, and in that town there even happens to be a Chinese buffet called something 88. But that's not, there's tons of it there. It'll blow your mind how much 666 stuff's in that town. And Gil Bates actually owns some property there too, which he was a key character, not for the obvious reasons, but for reasons I'd have to relay to you. A key character in the whole story that led me out to there, right? And I seen Moab, and I didn't even know about the arches in Moab. And I started to think, maybe Moab is the Moab in the Bible. This is where I was. I didn't know any of the stuff that I've been shown now. And I left that comment, and somebody was like, no, you're crazy. And I gotta tell you, you people that do that, you've actually been some of my motivation to look into things that you claim I shouldn't even touch because they're so false and deadly, which are usually 99% of the time it's the opposite of what you say. Because when you said that, I went and looked into Moab. Why did it get the name? Its origins, the etymology of the name Moab, its history, you know, and they claim that Mormons did it, you know, and found it, and they named it after this and that, whatever, you know. I'm going to tell you right now that I've never seen an official narrative, an official story that I had to look into for anything regarding any of this. I've never found one that wasn't absolutely bullshit and a misdirection. I've never seen one that I had to look into when it comes to all this stuff that wasn't them making you look over there. It's just like a magician. It's like sleight of hand. Oh, what are we doing over here? Why, over here, they're sticking it in you. Just like Trump does. Just like the stories about the Holy Land, Israel being Israel when it's actually Palestine. I'm going to show you all of it. Let's go. Let's read Isaiah 27 first, though. And look, you've got nothing to lose but a few minutes of your time. You've got nothing to gain but the most amazing, wonderful treasure that you can't put a price on. Revelation that comes from the Most High, and it's going to blow your mind. That's what you got to gain. Verse 1, in that day Yahuwah with his severe sword, great and strong, punishes Leviathan and the fleeing serpent. Leviathan, that twisted serpent, and he shall kill the monster that is in the sea. In that day sing to her, a vineyard of red wine. I, Yahuwah, do guard it. I water it every moment, lest any hurt it. I guard it night and day. Wrath is not in me. Who would set thorn bushes and weeds against me in battle? I would go through them. I love that part. I would burn them together. Or let him take hold of my strength and my peace with me. Let him make peace with me. Those who come, he causes to take root in Jacob. Look, those who come, I've been stressing that too. Come as you are. Just come. Yashua shall blossom and bud, and they shall fill the face of the world with fruit. Has he smitten him as he struck the ones who were striking him? Or as a killer, was he killed as he was killing? In measure, by sending her away, you contended with her. He shall take away by his rough wind in the day of the east wind. Therefore by this the crookedness of Jacob is covered, and this is all the fruit of taking away his sin, when he makes all the stones of the slaughter place like chalk stones that are beaten to dust. Asherim and sun pillars rise no more, meaning there won't be a trace of all those things. They'll be beaten into dust. Just like Yahushua said, there won't be one brick, one stone on top of another of that temple, meaning you won't even know it was there. None of it. For the city of defense is lonely, a home forsaken and left like a wilderness. What about those walls, the Wailing walls, and that are actually what's left of Fort, what's the name of that Roman fort that was parked right there? I can't remember it. Maybe it'll come to me later. Yeah, but what about all that stuff? And Jeremiah's grotto and all this stuff. Okay. Could it be possible that people, wealthy people, could maybe make some stuff to make it look like it was there? Nah, they couldn't do that. They wouldn't. They would never be that evil to do that. They would have nothing. I mean, what would be their incentive? Nothing. Look over here, folks. When its twigs are dry, they are broken off. Women come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Therefore he who made them has no compassion on them, and he who formed them shows them no favor. And in that day it shall be that Yahuwah threshes from the channel of the river to the Wadi of Mitzrayim. And you shall be gathered one by one, O children of Yashua, and in that day it shall be that a great shofar is blown, and those who were perishing, dying in the land of Ashur, and the outcast in the land of Mizraim shall come and shall worship Yahuwah, where? On the set apart mountain in Jerusalem. You guys like to brush things off and claim that things that the Most High say are parables. You're absolutely right. But what you don't like to acknowledge is the fact that Abba Yahuwah is the master of everything. He thinks of everything. There's nothing he don't consider. So if it's literal, it's more than likely a figure of speech as well. It's probably got many deep blessings, amazing, complex, but yet simple meanings to it. Don't ever put him in a box and think that he can't, or it didn't happen because he just can't. That is physical. Physically, people will come and worship Yahuwah on the set apart mountain in Jerusalem, okay? Let's read chapter 28 real quick. Woe to the proud crown of the drunkards of Ephraim, and to the fading flower of its splendid comeliness that is on the head of the fertile valley, to those who are overcome with wine. See, Yahuwah has one who is strong and potent, like a downpour of hail and a destroying storm, like a flood of mighty waters overflowing, who cast down to the earth with the hand. The proud crown of the drunkards of Ephraim is trampled underfoot, and the fading flower of its splendid comeliness that is on the head of the fertile valley, like the first fruit before the summer, which, when one sees it, he eats it up while it is still in his hand. In that day Yahuwah of hosts is for a crown of splendor and a headdress of comeliness to the remnant of his people, and a spirit of right ruling to him who sets in right ruling, and strength to those who turn back the battle at the gate. At the gate. And those who have gone astray through wine and through strong drink wandered about. Priest and prophet have gone astray through strong drink. They are swallowed up by wine. They wander about through strong drink. They go astray in vision. They stumble in right ruling. For all tables shall be covered with vomit. No place without filth. Whom would he teach knowledge? And whom would he make to understand the message? Those weaned from milk? Those taken from the breast? Those Christians? Or T.O. Messianics who think that the Messiah and the Father, Abba, are the same being? And they can try to explain it to you in so many different ways that it just don't make no sense whatsoever. But what would make perfect, common, logical sense? When he went off in privacy to pray to his fathers, what it says in Scripture, would it make sense that he prayed to himself? He went out in the wilderness to pray to himself, or would it make sense that he went to pray to his father? Don't start telling me that it's hard to understand and no, blah, 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 blah. Or that you, talking about me or anyone, they like to tell me what I shouldn't do, or that what I'm doing is going to lead me to hell and that I need to come get prayed for and all that stuff. But they're still on the tit, sucking that baby milk. They tell me things like, what you claim about the tree in the garden and the fruit, that has nothing to do with salvation, and you need to stop worrying about conspiracy theories and start worrying about your salvation, right? And then they'll tell you everyone must work out his own salvation, while they're sitting there trying to work out mine, and I'm defending myself. For it is command upon command, command upon command, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, there a little. I love it. I want more. For with a jabbering lip and a foreign tongue he speaks to this people, to whom he said, this is the rest, give rest to the weary, and this is the refreshing, but they would not hear. Can you imagine how this is going to change everything for you? You who think this is nonsense and that the Holy Land, what you think the Holy Land is, Israel, is where they set up the Ashkenazi Jews, taken from the Caucasus Mountains. They set them up in Palestine, bullied their way in there, and then they put all these crazy dumbass campaigns. Like when I was a kid, I would sleep with the TV on because, hey, parenting, right? And I would see in the middle of the night these, what are those things called? Like television ads, whatever they're called, about I stand with Israel or feed Israel or whatever, right? You know what I'm talking about. And they would show you all these videos of these old, just, poor people who they claim were Jews, whether they were Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, or I don't know what they were. And they enticed you, people, suckers, into sending them money because they said they were they were God's people, float in on wings of eagles. No, the only thing I can tell you for sure was I would have liked to slap that guy. I did. Get I was younger, I'm just being honest, my thoughts at the time when I was flipping through the TV, trying to get what I wanted to get to, like ESPN or something, I would see that man trying to make me pull on my heartstrings, trying to get me all teary-eyed and send money out of my pocket to a agency claiming to help someone when we all know better. I did. What I wanted to do was just karate chop him in the jugular. Just being honest. That's what we've been sold, right? And I'm going to show you who sold it. I'm going to show you how they make sure to give disclaimers that all their evidence is pretty much, well, we think so. We think that's what it is. And then you can see their attempt to convince you of lies. And like you know damn well that they've lied to the world, to the people of the world, about everything. But this one thing they didn't. And can you tell me why they wouldn't? Why they're telling us the truth about this? You don't want to look into it because it makes, there's no importance to it. Makes no sense, has nothing to do with salvation. So I just need to shut up. You sure you want to stick with that story? You sure about that? But the word of Yahuwah was to them command upon command, command upon command, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, there a little, so that they go and shall stumble backwards and be broken and snared and taken captive. Therefore hear the word of Yahuwah, you men of scorn, who rule this people who are in Jerusalem. because you have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with Sheol we have effected a vision. When the overflowing scourge passes through, it does not come to us, for we have made lying our refuge, and under falsehood we have hidden ourselves. You see, that's exactly what I was talking about. Thank you, Abba. Look, this, if you would break down what's said right here in this one paragraph, verse 15, you'll see the absolute truth in what I'm saying, my claim that the land is here, and how they've lied and hidden it from us. Okay? Right here. And that they plan to reduce the world's population down to 500 million people. And all these scourges that pass through, they think, because they have a deal, because they've sacrificed a bunch of children and drinking their adrenochrome, all kinds of horrible stuff. You should question and look into anything they've said. How dare you tell me that it's true and I shouldn't even be looking into it, when you know, just like I know, who we're talking about, who claims it to be true, and you're going to tell me I can't look into it? How is that not how is that not to do with my salvation? Really? The truth sets you free. If you don't want to be free, then you want to die. You're suicidal. Don't try to convince me to join you. They've taken refuge in their lies, you see. They've made the word anti-Semitism now because of all this bullshit. You can't even say things now. You best fear hellfire if you say any negative word about the land of Israel or Benjamin Netanyahu or whatever, the Jews. When anywhere you go and look for facts in their history, it's well documented who they are and that they're not who you claim they are. Therefore, thus said the Master Yahweh, see, I am laying in Sion a stone for a foundation, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a settled foundation. He who trusts shall not hasten away, and I shall make right ruling the measuring line, and righteousness the plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lying, and the waters overflow the hiding place. You see? You see that? Do you know, like I said, he speaks literally, metaphorically, however he wants. He kills all birds with one stone. That's what he does. He's Abba Yahuwah. Did you know that there's insurance companies that hire pilots and like little Cessnas and stuff that have tanks full of chemicals inside of them, rigged up to like spray bars out on the wings that spray chemicals, that aluminum, stuff like that, that will make hail melt into rain. These insurance companies were sick of paying all the money they've paid for all these claims where hail has came through and just ruined roofs and siding and all this stuff. Oh, I'm sure you've seen it. I've seen it. I've repaired a lot of it. I've seen a lot of people that I know get big fat checks from it. I've seen it on TV, documentaries about those pilots and those planes. Quite odd too. Quinky dinks. some of the stories I've heard about these pilots, how a hailstone the size of a football come through the windshield of his airplane while he was alone up there spraying. And it hit the top of his shoulder and about took it off. And he almost wrecked. And that he fears for his life every time he goes up to do that work. And, you know, their cover is blown for me. I see right through it. I see what's happening. Do I know all details? Well, absolutely not. Am I highly intelligent? Absolutely not. Am I top-notch dumbass? You bet your ass I am. Bet. And if you think you're not, then actually you're a bigger dumbass than I am. Because you are. We all are. We're here to learn. Listen up. And your covenant with death shall be annulled, and your vision with Sheol not stand. When an overflowing scourge passes through, then you shall be trampled down by it. As often as it passes through, it shall take you. For it shall pass through every morning, and by day and by night. And it shall be only tremble to understand the message. For the bed shall be too short for a man to stretch out on, and the covering shall be too narrow to wrap himself in it. For Yahuwah rises up as at Mount Perazim, and he is wroth as at the valley of Gabon, to do his work, his strange work, and to do his deed, his strange deed. And now, do not be scoffers, you people. And I know you think, I've never been a scoffer. Well, let me show you this evidence. No! Shut up. Lest your bonds be made strong, for I have heard from the Master Yahuwah of hosts a destruction decreed upon all the earth. Give ear and hear my voice. Listen and hear my word. Does the plowman keep plowing all day to sow? Does he keep turning his soil and breaking the clods? When he has leveled its surface, does he not sow the caraway and scatter the cumin, plant the wheat and rows, the barley in the appointed place, and the spelt in its place? For he instructs him for right ruling. His Most High teaches him. For caraway is not threshed with a threshing sledge, nor is a wagon wheel rolled over cumin. But caraway is beaten out with a stick, and cumin with a rod. Grain is crushed, so one does not go on threshing it forever, nor break it with his wagon wheel, nor crush it with his horsemen. Even this has come from Yahuwah of hosts, who did wonders in counsel, who made wisdom great. You know who that's for, that last part right there? That's for any of you who like to say, that was for back then, when Noah was here, or the Messiah, when times were real. Tribulation ain't happening right now. I don't need to think about anything except for what's on TV tonight, and what kind of car or house I'd like to have, or who am I going to marry, or any of that nonsense. He's saying, if this is a test, do the students just stay in the classroom learning, cramming and preparing to take the test forever and never take the test? No. Guess what? The day that you have to take the test has arrived. And if you're still uncertain, or you're unaware, or you refuse to believe and acknowledge that you are a student, you're on your way to failure. You're going to get a big old fat F. Trust me. Articles that I've saved here in my cache at Google, okay? You know, like I was mentioning earlier, I was just like everyone else when that cobra vampire had yet to reach our shores. I remember having conversations like, man, what are we going to do if it gets here? Now I laugh about that shit because I know what it is, the truth of it, right? So the journey's been amazing. Like I've said plenty of times before, I hope your journey with the Most High has been as phenomenal as mine, because it's been outstanding, let me tell you. He led me to Moab and showed me how this is all a big script. The first news article that was made telling us that the first case of the Delta variant that was found in Grand Junction, it went ahead and showed you that there was 666 cases at that hospital where it was found. They like their numbers, and they don't care if you know it. You know why? You know why they can just put it wherever they want and they don't try to hide it anymore? It's not a matter of whether you see it or not. They don't care if you see it and know what they're doing. They know you ain't gonna say shit, because the cares of this world are far too great for you to ever say anything. If I bring this stuff up to you when we're around other people, you're gonna start calling me crazy. You're gonna try to remove yourself, distance yourself from me as far as possible, right? Because you're scared. You don't fear the Most High. If you did, you'd be right there with me. You fear the world, and you fear what they're going to think about you. Guess what? Whatever you're so afraid of them thinking about you, they already think it. Probably worse. They're talking about you. You can best believe that. Even if you could never imagine them doing it. Oh, they're doing it. They're doing it. And if they could get with your old lady, they would. And they may have already. Or your husband. If you don't fear the Most High over everything, there's no end to the possibilities that could happen in all that filthiness. But let's look through here. Let's see. And I want to show you things. See how this is the tree of life right here, okay? And this is important if you want to gain the whole scope of all of this and see how it all fits in. See, and that's how I was trying to tell you, that's how amazing Abba is, because he took on the journey, he made sure to show me how every bit of what comes out of the image of the beast, he showed me what the image of the beast is too, which I don't see anyone else willing to acknowledge, which is so stupid if you ask me. He showed me everything that comes out of there is propaganda and bullshit, and it's a weapon. Okay, here's how stupid that is. All the people who say that that's wrong are they're those people who are saying things like they're going to build a statue when they build the third temple in Jerusalem, and it's going to tell people what the... Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? The television, which is a motion picture, motion image picture, same word. You gotta open your brain up a little bit. The motion image, that is the television, has crafted and molded society, except for the native people who don't know what a TV is, or people like the Amish who refuse to have one in their house. You know, those Amish people, the Amish people had no cases of cobra vampire. And I heard a news anchor lady asked one of the elders of the Amish family why that was, why he thought that was, and he said it just the way I would. He said, oh, well, that's easy. We don't have televisions. It's the image of the beast. Okay? The beast. They put it in your living room or in your bathroom in your hand because they have a message they want to get to you. And it's shiver and shake and tremble. The Cobra Vampire 19's here. And go get your jabs, put your mask on, shut the hell up, we're taking your guns. It's the image, right? So he showed me how all that's bullshit. He showed me, you know, when I made the statement, I think that Moab is the Moab of the Bible, I didn't know that Egypt, Mitzrayim, was here, where I was shown that the bullseye, the crosshairs, is. I thought that was just a coincidence or whatever. And then he showed me that the land is here. He showed me how when it talks about a wadi, which is where water comes into an area from streams and rivers that flow in from the ocean, the seas, and it rests, right? He says in his word that in the land of inheritance that there is a wadi, that the water stays there and never flows back anywhere to any sea. There's only one spot in the world where that happens, and it's right out in Utah and Wyoming. Yep. So this star, who you guys love, those of you who love it and claim that it's the Star of David, regardless of whose star it is, it's the symbol of pride. It's the symbol of sin. It represents sin, sexual intercourse. It represents light and darkness. What the occult is all about. As above, so below. That's what that is. See in the middle right there? You have a hexagon. That's what you have. At the top, you see it? And it turns into a cube and all that. But it is why they're so all about it right now is because it is what separates or what connects above to below. The delta means door. A door is a bridge. It's a union of male and female. See all these tranny agendas going down? They don't want you to be able to tell them what they are, because if they want to be a turd today, then you better address them by Mr. Turd or they'll sue you. Definitely want to bite your head off anyway. But he showed me all this about that, about the six-pointed star that's called a hexagram, or in Latin, a sexagram. And you wonder why that is? Well, it said when they transgressed against the Most High in the garden, Adam and Eve, a curse came, right? Yeah, that's what that represents. And it don't matter what they did. What it was they did, it don't matter if they bent over and picked up a rock. What matters is what they really did. Because what they really did was refuse to listen to the truth coming from the only one who would know it, and that's Abba. They believed the serpent, that they could do what they want and they could become like the Most High and be gods, right? When they were born yesterday, and they knew that. But I will give them props over most people today. At least they did acknowledge that they did something wrong. Everyone today, they refuse to acknowledge it. They would be like Adam and Eve when the Most High came in the garden and said, "Hey, what have you done? Why are you trying to hide your nakedness?" If it were y'all today, you would be standing there saying, "What do you mean? We didn't do anything. This is what you wanted us to do." And he'd say, "No, I told you to not do that." And they'd say, "No, you didn't. You told us. I don't care what you said." They'd be that stubborn. So, I want to show you some of the Balfour Declaration. Like right here, I've showed this time immemorial. This Los Lunas Decalogue stone that has the commandments written on it. That's like 450 tons or something. That was placed out west. That's proof that Moses was there. But in these Wikipedia articles, they always make sure to show you that an expert came from Smithsonian Institute and concluded that it was a hoax, that someone put this out there. Why would they put a hoax? Why would they go through all that trouble just to make you think someone knew the Hebrew language? Same reason they erased all the giant skeletons and remains. I used to always wonder, why would they do that? Well, then I got like in my late teens, early 20s, I would tell people it's because they don't want you to know the truth of the Bible. That's true. But it's more than just that. They are pulling out all the stops to hide the land of inheritance from you. And you might say, well, why would they want to do that? Slap yourself if you said that, please. For your sake. And anyone who might be influenced by your ignoramus, retarded words that might come out of your mouth. Slap yourself, please. Because a slap's far less hurtful and deadly than what you're going to get from the Most High. Okay. Now see, let's see right here. New COVID variant found for the first time right here. This is that article from Grand Junction, Colorado and Mesa County right here. See? You see that right there? I can't find my little drawing unit thing. Let me see. There. Right here. Boom. You see that? That was that first article. And I didn't know, I still didn't know why I was looking at that. Now I know. All praise to the Most High. But let's see if I can show you some, okay. The official narrative, the official story on the Holy Land and its location. It started with the pharaohs, right? But who was one of the key contributors, one of the main influencers to draw that story and paint that picture for us right here? See that guy, Josephus? Let's look into Josephus a little bit, shall we? I don't know, hey, don't be doing that crap to me. Okay. Flavius Josephus was a 1st century Romano-Jewish historian and military leader best known for the Jewish War, who was born in Jerusalem, then part of Roman Judea, to a father of priestly descent and a mother who claimed royal ancestry. I want to hear more about this guy, okay? Main interest: Jewish history, the Maccabean Revolt. He initially fought against the Romans during the First Jewish-Roman War as head of Jewish forces in Galilee until surrendering in 67 AD to Roman forces led by Vespasian, I can't ever say his name. After the 6-week siege of Yadfat, Josephus claimed the Jewish messianic prophecies that initiated the First Jewish-Roman War made reference to Vespasian becoming emperor of Rome. In response, Vespasian decided to keep Josephus as a slave and presumably interpreter. After Vespasian became emperor in 69 AD, he granted Josephus his freedom, at which time Josephus assumed the emperor's family name of Flavius. Flavius Josephus fully defected to the Roman side and was granted Roman citizenship. He became an advisor and friend of Vespasian's son, Titus, so he became advisor and friend to Titus, serving as his translator when Titus led the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Since the siege proved ineffective at stopping the Jewish revolt, the city's pillaging and the looting and destruction of Herod's temple soon followed. Josephus recorded the First Jewish-Roman War, including the Siege of Masada. His most important works were the Jewish War and Antiquities of the Jews. The Jewish War recounts the Jewish revolt against Roman occupation. Antiquities of the Jews recounts the history of the world from a Jewish perspective for an ostensibly Greek and Roman audience. These works provide valuable insight into 1st century Judaism and the background of early Christianity. Josephus's works are the chief source next to the Bible for the history and antiquity of ancient Palestine, and provide a significant and independent extra-biblical account of such figures as Pontius Pilate, Herod the Great, John the Baptist, James the Just, and possibly Jesus of Nazareth. Scholarship and impact on history. The works of Josephus provide crucial information about the First Jewish-Roman War and also represent important literary source material for understanding the context of the Dead Sea Scrolls and late Temple Judaism. His scholarship in the 19th and early 20th centuries took an interest in Josephus's relationship to the sect of the Pharisees. And you can't look up that citation. Citation needed. I know when I click on that, it don't show you nothing. It consistently portrayed him as a member of the sect and as a traitor to the Jewish nation, a view which became known as the classical concept of Josephus. In the mid-20th century, a new generation of scholars challenged this view and formulated the modern concept of Josephus. They considered him a Pharisee, but restored his reputation in part as patriot and a historian of some standing. In his 1991 book, Steve Mason argued that Josephus was not a Pharisee, but an Orthodox aristocrat priest who became associated with the philosophical school of the Pharisees as a matter of defense, and not by willing association. Impact on history and archaeology. The works of Josephus include useful material for historians about individuals, groups, customs, and geographical places. However, modern historians have been cautious of taking his writings at face value. For example, Carl Ritter, in his highly influential Urkund in the 1840s, wrote in a review of authorities on the ancient geography of the region. Outside of the scriptures, Josephus holds the first and the only place among the native authors of Judea. For Philo and Alexandria, the later Talmud and other authorities are of little service in understanding the geography of the country. Josephus is, however, to be used with great care. as a Jewish scholar, as an officer of Galilee, as a military man, and a person of great experience in everything belonging to his own nation. Oh, you mean that nation where it said he claimed to go with Titus down and destroyed the temple and all that and pissing on walls and stuff? Okay, yeah. He attained to that remarkable... Yeah. Sorry about that. I'll have to edit that. Okay. You see, I told him not to call me, and he's not far from me. I told him just to come over back to where I am, and I do this all the time, and he always fails to do as I tell him to do when it comes to this. And a person of great experience in everything belonging to his own nation, he attained to that remarkable familiarity with his country in every part which his antiquarian researches so abundantly evince. Do you see how when they want you to believe something, they get that pen just going, right? And they will fluff up his books and cook them to where you, any one of these deer in the headlight people are like, yep, nope, he's the authority on that, where Israel sits. But he was controlled by political motives. His great purpose was to bring his people, the despised Jewish race, into honor with the Greeks and Romans. And this purpose underlay every sentence and filled his history with distortions and exaggerations. In his Jewish antiquities, he had no authorities but that which we enjoy in common with him, the Old Testament, and in this field we can follow him and correct many of his misstatements. But in his accounts of the great war which swept over his country during his life, and in the detailed topographical descriptions which he gives in connection with it, we are unhappily without any means of following and correcting him. To add to the uncertainties which perplex us in Josephus, he wrote his books at an advanced period of his life and in a foreign land, and so either fell unavoidably into mistakes about distances and like matters, or else purposely exaggerated the simple truth. Okay, we're talking about distances, and he purposely exaggerated simple truth. It may not be uncharitable to suspect that the latter was the cause of many of his errors, for he does not conceal the duplicity of his nature in the sketch which he has given us of his own life. Nevertheless, the authority of Josephus is great respecting the general geographical character of his own country. Why do we have to have some man tell us where the country is? And his writings are to be accepted and used. See? You best recognize. You better accept these writings with care indeed, but as a rich storehouse of original material whose want could not be supplied. Josephus mentions that in his day there were 240 towns and villages scattered across Upper and Lower Galilee, some of which he names. Josephus's works are the primary source of the chain of Jewish high priests during the Second Temple period. Okay, I'm not going to keep going on this. If you want to do your due diligence, do your own research, miss. And if you don't, well, I'm going to keep bringing what I can to you. But if you're going to tell me about my salvation, your salvation and your concern or your the level of priority it holds in your life is evident to anyone if you're not looking into this and you're doing what that just told you to do, and that's just taking what Josephus says about where the land of Israel is, hook, line, and sinker, shut the hell up, go stick your head back in your hole. Nothing to see here, folks. move along. And now, when you look at anyone's evidence to the contrary, when you see articles where someone says, "Man, I found this huge Egyptian town out in the Grand Canyon," you know what happens? The same people that tell you that you better listen to Josephus, they magically show up and tell you, "Oh no, they're wrong. It's a hoax. He didn't see anything. There's nothing out there." But then there's guards. Yeah, did you know that in the Grand Canyon, where it's documented and written, where people have found what they called was a Egyptian citadel, okay, and underground, and there's all kinds of like big hieroglyphs and statues and monuments and stuff out there. Did you know that that's there? You probably didn't. And did you know that you can't go there? It's not that you can't, it's too far to walk or something. No, there are government guard dogs surrounding it, like Area 51, but probably worse. They're there to stop you from going in. But you can go to the pyramids in Giza all you want. Folks, you better recognize Josephus, and probably at the commands of the emperors and the elites of Rome, who are actually, in fact, the remnant of the pharaohs. That's why they all share the same symbols and signs and authority, just like America does and the UK. They paint this picture. And why? Just for fun? For a hobby? Is that what you think? No. It's to destroy you. And anything of Abba's that he holds dear, that he treasures, they want to destroy it. And Abba only wants those who love him and who are willing to look outside the box and are willing to believe his words over Flavius Josephus's. And willing to hunt for truth. And they're not one bit afraid to not only accept and acknowledge it, but to proclaim it. They're not one bit afraid. In this article, Lida 1948, you can go in there and read about how those who went into Palestine and bullied their way in there, rooched their big fat asses in someone else's area and claimed it to be their own for their own greedy gain. You can see how brutal and murderous they were, and how they totally raped those people. The horrible things they did to them people, I don't want to look into it. If you need to know what article I'm talking about, I'll show you, but it's just not good. And I kind of had a feeling that that's probably what happened. I had that feeling before I knew any of this, when I used to see all those efforts on the news to tell you how the rockets were flying into Israel from terrorist, you know. And I always thought, yeah, I bet there's something to that. Well, that is true. There's a lot to it, okay? Let's see, here we go. Oh yeah, and the Yahoo Ark in, I think it's Tennessee, where Cherokee women were massacred and children for no good reason. I think they were there doing their laundry or something. The British Army in Palestine. I'm trying to find you the colonial enslavement of Native Americans. No, I want you to see. Let's see what this says. I want you to see how they wrote the Balfour Declaration. We change people's mentality. Yeah, they do that quite often, don't they? Okay. Let's see. Here's this article, Clearing the Pine Trees name. That is one piece of evidence showing you how they went to great lengths to try to plant cedars in that land over there, and it just wouldn't work for them. Because these people are pathetic. Anyone whose mission is to kill innocent people because they think it'll make them look good, whatever it is. Those people are pathetic. Their only goal, or their only end, is just that. It's the end. We'll see what this article here has to say.